much. Well, another proposed Oregon bill would give homeless and low-income people $1,000 a month. The Department of Human Services would administer the People's Housing Assistance Fund demonstration program to distribute the money for 1 year. The payments would be given to people who are experiencing homelessness, are at risk of homelessness, or are earning at or below 60% of the area's median income. Now, the bill was proposed by Iowa Senator Winsbey Campos, the youngest senator ever elected in Oregon.